Hi, everybody. Todd Nash, Senate District 29. Um, Update here at the end of the work week, which is ending on the 27th, this Thursday. Um, we had another big week. I keep saying it's been a busy week. It has indeed been a busy week. It's just one thing right after another. But one of the really big items that we got through the Senate floor this on Tuesday was Senate Bill 777. You've heard me talk about it multiple times if you've seen any of these YouTubes, and that was wolf compensation. We've worked on this for a long time, the original program going back to 2011, doing some necessary updates on that, and I think it's going to be a much better program, much more user-friendly program, and may encourage a few more people to utilize it. And what it does is um, when you get uh, a suspected livestock kill from a wolf, you have an investigation, you go through the whole process. Maybe you get it confirmed, maybe you don't. But if you do get it confirmed or it's a probable, then you can put in for compensation. In the past, you got paid for that one animal. We understand that if you had an episode, there was usually more to it than just the episode. It disrupted the whole herd. We understand that there's conception rate um, goes down, that we have weight loss, we had added management cost. And so we uh, have strove to put in a multiplier. We hope to get seven times the value of that animal. We ended up at 5. And so for cattle, young cattle, yearlings, calves, sheep and goats, it's a multiplier of 5. For older cattle, cows, bulls, it's a multiplier of 3. And for dogs and horses, it's 1-to-1 still, because usually those are in closer to our homes, and we keep a little tighter rein on them. But that was a big win for us to be able to get that. The environmental community had highlighted it as their number one bad bill list, on their very worst of bad bills here. And so in order to get that passed, we had to talk our Democrat friends here that are heavily supported by the environmental community. And that was tough for them to be able to cross over and vote on this. And but they did. And there was one person absent from the floor of the Senate. There was one person that voted against the bill. The rest of them voted for it. So 28-1 was the scoreboard when it was all said and done. Excuse me. I had a I had a fellow senator come to my office after the floor vote, and with the robust debate that took place on the floor, the questions that were asked, some of the comments that went back and forth, said that they had never seen anything like that before, as long as they had been here, and they've been here a considerable while, had never seen anything like that take place on the floor of the Senate. Um, Healthy debate. And at the end of the day, this was a big win for us to be able to get this accomplished. And I'm so proud of all the people that worked on this over the years. I mentioned it on the floor, but for those who have endured so much, you deserve a win, and this is your win. We had a hearing on Senate Bill 1160, and that was take a look. That I sponsored that bill, and that's to take a look at some of the small renewables and see if they are indeed as inefficient as sometimes they're being called. There's a lot of these sightings of both solar and wind that are just huge, thousands of acres at a time. We can better fit some of the smaller sightings in. I'm not opposed to um, to renewables if we can make them work, but sometimes they're so oppressive that they just don't fit within our communities. And so to take a look at the efficiencies of some of these smaller ones as opposed to the big giant ones, this came to me from someone that was a trusted partner down here, and they wanted me to run this bill. I was glad to run it. We had a good hearing. I think that we're going to get a study out of this, and we'll take a look and see if they're wildly more inefficient or if they're right on the same playing field as some of the great big um, renewables. So we'll have an assessment of that sometime. Um, we have some updates on a couple of bills that we thought we were going to have hearings on today, and they got passed over. Senate Bill 976, and that was the equine dentistry and preg check bill, and it's down to just a preg check bill, and then really take a look into the future of how we might do equine dentistry if there's a pathway for that. But for right now, that's just going to be preg check. There was a few technical changes happened at the last minute. Those things have to be posted 24 hours in advance. Supposed to have a hearing on it at 1 o'clock on this Thursday, the 27th, and we just didn't get that arranged in time. So that'll be next Tuesday. We have a brand bill 1019, done a tremendous amount of work on. ODA, OCA, Dairy have done a tremendous amount of work on this to try to find some middle ground and keep the brand program going. And then we want to take a strong look at what other states are doing with their programs and possibly replicate those. So there's a work group that's going to be established within that. There's a legislative policy office here embedded within the Capitol, and they do a great job of research. And so they'll be doing some research on it. Then the work group that is made up of industry, they will assess that and see if there's something there that might work better for Oregon in the long term. Anyway, there's been a lot of interest in the brand program, a lot of back and forth. We've gotten to a good place here, and really thankful for everybody that's worked on that and been patient with me as we went through this process. The small sawmill wood grading program, we hope to have that ready for a work session, and we have some last minute amendments to that. Again, been doing a lot of work back and forth, small woodlands with some of the big industry guys, with building codes, looking at those other state programs that are already successful. We've about got it refined down to a point where we feel really comfortable. We're thinking next Thursday will be the day that that'll be heard, and feeling really good about that bill right now. And that's Senate Bill 1061. Going into the future also, I want to highlight a couple of things that everybody likes money, and the Joint Ways and Means Roadshow will be hitting the road literally, and on April 4th, they'll be in Warm Springs, just outside of Madras, and that'll be at the elementary school there at 4 p.m. or excuse me, 5 p.m. And if there's a project within your area that you want to see funded, you have desire for money that does better for your community, for the state of Oregon, these are the places to show up and ask for it. I have the benefit of having two of them in my district, and my district is pretty big, but the other one is in Hoke Hall, Eastern Oregon University, and that will be April 11th at 5 p.m. And so again, if there is something that you want funding for, please show up. Usually there's fairly large crowds there, and a lot of people wanting well-deserved funded projects. But if you don't show up, you're definitely not going to get heard by those individuals that are making those big decisions on how those state monies are going to get spent. Oh, then we have a few things coming up next week for work sessions and hearings. Um, I'll go through some of them here just real quick. SGAR 30 that I've talked quite a little bit about is going to be heard on April 2nd. And that is the initiative petition process to where we change that, have to gather those signatures in each of the congressional districts rather than just the concentrated area of Metro. And we've seen some abuses of that measure system, that initiative petition system, and we want to try to get that to where it's a little better playing field and less outside influence from other states and state money coming in here to influence the way that we have ballot measures come to us. Senate Bill 1034. This come to us originally from Umatilla County, and in that county, they had a big sighting of some wind turbines over there. Their local planning and their county ordinance called for a 2-mile setback from a residence. And the Energy Facility Siting Council, they went ahead and cited some of those within that 2-mile buffer. Umatilla County litigated and lost. Eastern Oregon counties joined in on that. Morrow County joined in. Everybody lost. We think that those local policies are most precious. Those are the best decisions made. In this case, a Canadian company came in there. They went through the process. They went through the litigation. They won the day. And this particular bill, this 1034, this bolsters those local planning decisions, and so that we can't get run over in the same way that we did last time. I think it's a simple fix, but it's a very important one. We need to be able to make those decisions locally. With that, I'm going to wrap this up. We have several more things coming up next week. I've gone long enough here. I really appreciate everybody that's participated. Continue to work on these issues. We down here as legislators are nothing without the support of you back home. And I so appreciate everything that everybody does back home. And when you weigh in, when you support these pieces of legislation, when you advise us as to how we should vote, it's very helpful. And I look forward to getting back home again this weekend, and maybe we'll see you around. So thank you. Bye.